Something changed. Not loudly, not suddenly, but quietly enough that most people missed it, except the people who always notice first, billionaires. For decades, Dubai sold a dream: zero income tax, zero capital gains tax, a city where wealth could grow untouched, protected, and almost invisible to the outside world. It wasn't just about money. It was about freedom. Freedom from scrutiny, from regulation, from the constant pressure wealthy individuals face in traditional financial systems globally. Dubai became more than a city. It became a symbol, a fortress of wealth in the desert, where fortunes could be built, stored, and quietly expanded. But something started to shift. Not a collapse, not a crisis, just a subtle change in the rules, small enough to ignore, but big enough to matter. In 2023, a quiet announcement broke the illusion: a 9% corporate tax. Still low, but psychologically, it marked the end of a long era. Because the number wasn't the real story. The real story was what it represented, a signal that the system was evolving under global pressure. Organizations like the Financial Action Task Force began tightening their focus, pushing for transparency, compliance, and accountability across financial hubs worldwide. Suddenly, the invisible became visible. Transactions, structures, ownership, things once hidden behind layers of complexity, started facing global attention and scrutiny. For the ultra-wealthy, this changes everything, not because they can't adapt, but because their entire strategy depends on predictability, control, and discretion. It's not about the tax, it's about losing invisibility. That's the part no headline explains, but every serious investor understands instantly. And that's where the real story begins. Not panic, not collapse, but quiet movement, calculated, strategic, almost invisible to the public eye. Because when smart money moves, it doesn't run, it repositions. Silently, efficiently, before the rest of the world even realizes something has changed. So the question isn't why people are leaving. The real question is, what did they see early that everyone else is still missing today? Behind the glamour, there's a quieter conversation happening, not about profits or luxury, but about risk. The kind of risk that doesn't show up until it's late. For most people, Dubai feels safe, structured, efficient. But for the ultra-wealthy, safety isn't just about lifestyle, it's about legal certainty across borders and systems. There's a concern rarely discussed publicly. In certain situations, unresolved disputes can affect travel freedom. It's uncommon, but even a small probability matters at high levels, because billionaires don't think in averages. They think in worst-case scenarios. One unexpected restriction, one legal complication, that's enough to trigger strategic reconsideration instantly. But the deeper shift isn't local, it's global. Governments worldwide are tightening financial systems, sharing data, and increasing pressure on offshore structures and international wealth flows. Organizations like the Financial Action Task Force are pushing for stricter transparency standards, making it harder to operate quietly across multiple jurisdictions without oversight. At the same time, tax authorities from Europe to North America are becoming more aggressive in tracking foreign assets, residency claims, and cross-border financial behavior. This creates a new kind of pressure, not visible, not dramatic, but constant. A system where compliance isn't optional. It's continuously monitored, analyzed, and enforced globally. For the ultra-wealthy, three things matter above everything else: mobility, legal certainty, and predictability. Remove one, and the entire equation begins to feel unstable, because wealth is not static. It moves, it adapts, and it needs environments where rules are clear, not shifting under external political or regulatory pressure unexpectedly. So a question begins to form quietly in boardrooms and private conversations. What if your safe haven depends on decisions made somewhere else entirely? What if stability isn't internal, but borrowed, dependent on international agreements, global scrutiny, and political relationships that can change faster than expected? The system still works. Dubai is still functioning, still attractive, still powerful. But something subtle has changed. Trust is no longer automatic. It's being evaluated. And when trust shifts, even slightly, the smartest money doesn't wait for confirmation. It starts preparing quietly, long before the headlines ever catch up. The movement isn't loud. No headlines, no panic. Just quiet decisions happening behind closed doors where wealth is managed with precision, patience, and long-term strategic thinking. This isn't an exit, it's a rotation. Smart capital doesn't run from places. It reallocates, spreads risk, and builds optionality across multiple jurisdictions simultaneously without drawing attention. One of the key destinations is Singapore, a city known not for hype, but for stability, strong governance, and deeply trusted financial infrastructure globally. Singapore offers something critical: predictability, clear rules, consistent enforcement, a system where wealth isn't just protected, but structured within globally respected legal and financial frameworks. Then there's Milan. At first glance, it seems like an unlikely competitor. But the shift isn't about image, it's about balance between lifestyle and structure. Italy's flat tax regime for wealthy individuals creates clarity. Pay a fixed amount and gain access to European stability, culture, and a legal system built over centuries. And then there's Switzerland, quiet, reserved, unchanging. A place where wealth preservation isn't a trend, it's a tradition refined over generations. Switzerland represents legacy thinking, not fast gains, but long-term protection. A jurisdiction where reputation, neutrality, and discretion are deeply embedded into the system itself. Here's the key insight. Wealth isn't abandoning Dubai. It's still present, still active. But it's no longer concentrated. It's being distributed strategically across multiple global hubs. The strategy has changed. It's no longer about chasing zero tax alone. It's about combining stability, reputation, and resilience into a portfolio of locations worldwide. Because risk today isn't local, it's interconnected. A single policy change, a geopolitical shift, or regulatory pressure can ripple across borders faster than ever before. And the smartest money understands this deeply. It doesn't wait for disruption. It anticipates it, prepares for it, and moves quietly before it becomes visible. The smartest money doesn't wait for problems. It moves before them. That's the rule guiding decisions now, shaping where capital flows next across the world. This was never just about one city, not about Dubai alone. What we're witnessing is something much bigger, a global shift in how serious money thinks, moves, and protects itself. Dubai is simply the lens, a place where changes became visible first. But the underlying story is global, affecting every major financial center competing for capital today. Because wealth doesn't belong to places, it belongs to conditions. And those conditions are being redefined in a world where uncertainty moves faster than ever before. The core truth is simple. Wealth follows stability, not temporary advantages, not trends, but environments where systems hold, even when pressure builds from outside forces. It follows predictable laws, places where rules don't shift overnight, where legal systems are clear, tested, and consistent across time, regardless of political or external changes. And most importantly, it follows long-term security. Not just physical safety, but financial and legal security that extends years, even decades, into the future. This is where psychology matters. Billionaires don't wait for headlines. They don't react to chaos. They quietly step away from potential risk before it becomes obvious. They don't chase hype. They don't follow crowds. They position early, adjust silently, and let the rest of the world catch up later when the shift is already complete. So what you're seeing isn't panic, it's discipline. A calculated adjustment in a changing environment where certainty has become more valuable than short-term advantage. Dubai isn't finished. Far from it. The city still stands, still attracts, still grows. But something intangible has shifted. Its image as untouchable is no longer absolute. And that's the real story, not collapse, not failure, but a recalibration of trust. A subtle but powerful force that determines where the world's wealth chooses to stay. Because in the end, money doesn't ask where it can grow fastest. It asks where it can survive longest, and under what conditions it can remain protected. So here's the question that matters more than any headline. If you had the choice, would you choose zero tax or total security for your future?